Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Nikitinaknits. My name is Evgenia and this is a part number 2 of top 10 summer yarns to try out in 2025. The first video I created on this topic is exactly the same. I mentioned top 10 summer yarns that I'm in love with. I will put the link to that video in the description box so you can take a look if you haven't seen that video. And just as usual, these yarns are not random yarns from the internet that I just picked from the list. These yarns are my favorite yarns. They're always on my mind when I want to knit something. Unfortunately, I can't try them all. I wish, but I can't. So it's very nice that I can speak about them online. I will be also showcasing the qualities of those yarns. If you watch my videos, you probably already know that I'm quite a detailed person, that I'm picking on every single detail that matters to me. So I hope you can get away from this video not only with yarn names in your head, but also with a rough idea of how the garment is going to behave, what type of garment is going to be, what type of drape, what type of qualities, and I will do my best to explain it in a short period of time. Alright, before I begin, I just want to quickly mention that I'm not speaking about very popular yarns here because there's enough videos that mention those yarns. Knitters knit with that yarn a lot online, so you probably already know about them and you have the rough idea of how they behave. And I'm not going to speak about these yarns. I'm going to mention them on the screen right now. So if you've never heard of those yarns that you see on the screen, you can just Google them by yourself and you can find a lot of information about them online. So I'm not going to be speaking about them. They're amazing. Try them if you haven't. For example, I'm wearing right now a top knitted with Knitting for Olive pure silk. Amazing yarn, but I don't see a point of speaking about this again and again. So the first yarn on the list is Fashion Silk Blend DK by RICO Design. RICO is a German company that produces their yarn in Italy. Really nice company with mid-range prices. I feel like their prices make complete sense. And this yarn ends up being even more budget friendly because for 50 grams, we're getting 220 meters. And this is a DK/ worsted yarn. So you can knit it from 4 to 5 millimeter needles. That is going to give you the gauge of 20 stitches per 10 centimeters. So usually such yarn weight is going to end up in half less meterage. And for the cardigan or a sweater, we will end up using way less yarn. I think it's due to a very interesting spun construction. I wouldn't say it's a spun, it's like a chain that looks like a braid. I'm quite sad that I have not tried such interesting spun yet. I spoke about similar spun in my previous video. I always want to try it when I see it in the yarn shops, but haven't gotten a chance yet. I checked a few pictures from Ravelry and some people knit it with a more tight gauge, some people with a more open gauge, and I think when you knit it with a little bit of more open gauge, it ends up blooming a little bit even more with time. When we knit with such yarn, I think it's important to understand that it's not very tightly spun. It is just a chain that is filled up with cotton and silk. In this case, this chain is made of 10% polyamide, I imagine. And if we just throw it in the washing machine and just rub against the backpacks if we go hiking in summer, it's not the case. Like, it's not going to hold up really well. So maybe it is the yarn for a bit more special garments, just the garments that we're going to take care of and treat with care. So regarding what type of fabric this yarn is going to give us, I saw some pictures on Ravelry again, and there's so many different projects knit with that. I can't really tell the exact pattern of what subjects are knitted with that. You have camisoles, cardigans, some people work color works, some people actually add mohair and knit a whole sweater with that. I find it a really good idea. If you still want some fuzz from mohair but you don't want heat from the wool, you can combine those two and achieve a very nice evening cardigan. For example, you go to the beach and in the evening it gets really windy and cold. Happens a lot in the northern Europe and even here in the north of Spain. I always take something warm but light to the beach, and right now I don't have this garment that is going to warm me up after the beach. I usually just take a regular sweater, but it's just completely inappropriate for the beach. You have sand and all types of things. So I guess this yarn is very nice for garments like sweaters and cardigans for summer, but as I already said, is appropriate for tees and camisoles if you like this type of yarn weight for these garments. Regarding the qualities that the garment is going to hold up, I think the drape from the silk, the durability from the silk as well, not in case of rubbing against the fabric, but durability in case of stretching and like losing the shape so much. Silk is very good at maintaining the shape as long as you dry it in a very good shape. So when it's dry, it's more or less going to stay in the similar shape with time. Cotton is going to retain moisture really nice from the body and give breathability. And 10% polyamide is just like the structure of the chain. I don't think it adds anything. So the only thing I would be careful about this yarn when knitting with that is the ribbing. I personally don't like how the ribbing looks in this yarn, and also in other plant-based fibers. It just looks completely messed up and not neat. Some people actually like that effect because it shows that the garment is knitted with hands, and it shows that it's imperfect. But if you're like me who doesn't find this so attractive, I would pay attention to what finishings you're going to make up on your garment. Maybe it could be a twisted stitch. I found it beautiful. I saw some examples. It could be an I-cord or a folded hem, and there are so many other options. The next one is Merino Cotton from the brand Austermann. It is a German brand, and I have not tried any yarns from them, but I really like and respect what they do. They're a really responsible company. Unfortunately, I have not tried anything from them yet, but I have quite a big list from what I want to knit from them. So what really attracts my attention is that they care a lot. So they're GOTS certified. I don't know if all of the yarns are GOTS certified, but this one for sure. Their yarns are organic. They really care about the source, the production, treatment of animals and people who work for their company. And I don't know why this yarn is not so popular yet. I hope I can contribute to its popularity somehow. I think it's really well priced and the fabric holds up really well, and people that I know personally knit with that yarn and they're really happy with how it feels, how it holds up even after extensive wear and wash. It is a 3-ply yarn that has to be cold washed and hand washed, so don't put it in the machine. So the contents of the yarn is 55% merino wool and 45% cotton. It is very soft. It is appropriate for kids because again it's very soft, and it is 100% organic, so it's free from chemicals that can create allergy. And even if you're adult, some people can have allergies just because you sweat into the garment, and as you're sweating you could be potentially creating reaction with those chemicals that could be found in the yarn, and it ends up being absorbed back into your body. So people who are sensitive to these type of things have to really pay attention, and this is a perfect yarn for these cases. Each ball contains of 50 grams and 230 meters, and it is fingering to light fingering yarn weight. The recommended needle size is 3 to 4 millimeters, and this is one of my favorite yarn weights for summer garments because you can knit bralettes with that, camisoles, ripped camisoles, very thin garments, and this is my preferred yarn weight because I already tried DK weight yarn for a t-shirt for summer wear, and I don't wear that t-shirt almost never. I opened Ravelry and I saw so many different types of objects: camisoles, shawls, sweaters, cardigans. Like again, it's very versatile because of the contents. It could be mid-season yarn, autumn, early autumn, late spring, summer of course. But most commonly I saw people knitting t-shirts and camisoles with that yarn. Makes sense because it's very light and has quite a lot of cotton in it. However, I could see a project that I really want to knit, and I spoke about it in my previous videos, is Tuileries Polo by So-Min Kim, a Korean designer. I spoke about that polo in my Korean summer knitting patterns inspiration. Check that video out if you haven't. There's so many patterns I cannot wait to knit. Maybe I get to knit them all one day. Who knows? I'm going to be also leaving the link in the description box so you can watch it right after this one. So that polo was knitted with this yarn, Merino Cotton from Austermann. It's very beautiful stitch definition, it's very squishy and lightweight and just looks brilliant. So if you wanted to knit that polo, if you're thinking on the yarn, there you go, you have one more option to choose from. The next yarn is Liza, the yarn that attracts me so much, especially with their so summery color palette. I guess this yarn was created purely for summer, given the color palette that we have. They're very light, very breezy colors that give me so much joy just only looking at that color palette. Link is a very big Swiss company that has a lot of distributors across the whole world, I believe. And despite the fact that it's a very big company that has a lot of different yarns, that produces quite fast new yarns over and over again, they do hold quite a good quality. And sometimes, just like in knitwear designers, yarn producers can also fall into that trap to constantly produce and sell, and decrease the quality with time. But regarding this brand, I did not see such pattern yet, at least from my personal viewpoint, and I would love to try many yarns from them. So Liza is one of them. It is a sport weight yarn. It has 165 meters per 50 grams. Recommended needles are 3 to 3.5 millimeters, and you get 24 stitches per 10 centimeters. But of course, it depends on what needle size you're picking up. So the content of the yarn is 70% viscose, 20% extra fine merino, and 10% silk. Very interesting why they decided to add those 10% to already exist in 70% of viscose. So I just guess it was necessary to maybe achieve some strength or any other quality. I also think that 20% of extra fine merino add a lot of lightness to the garment in comparison if that would be 100% bamboo garment. I have a 100% bamboo t-shirt and it is really heavy, too drapey, and does not hold shape at all. So I guess it was a really nice solution to add those 20% merino. And also what is interesting, it is machine washable at 30 degrees. To be honest, I'm quite skeptical about washing garments in the washing machine unless it's really durable superwash yarn that has good reputation that is not going to, you know, break out. I maybe better would wash it with my hands but then spin it in the machine. That is so much better. So just to make sure that that viscose is not going to shrink and that silk and merino are not going to be like peeling off the garment. It's quite nicely spun, so maybe it's also nice for camisoles, maybe ripped camisoles. They're not going to hold the shape really well, so they're not going to bounce if you do any ribbing or 2x2 ribbing, 3x3, but it is going to be looking quite nice and neat. So what type of fabric we're going to achieve with Liza? I think the first one is drape, of course, because of viscose and silk content. It's not going to be so lightweight, even though there is 20% merino. I think it's extremely perfect for lace t-shirts if you like that drape and flowiness of the fabric. It is going to have some shine, but not so much because of the way it's spun. It is like a tight 2-ply spun, and I don't really think it shines that much at all. Not mention what type of silk is used and what type of exact viscose, because there are many types as well. So if you're looking for a drapey fabric that is going to cool down your body, that is going to be quite antibacterial, not going to hold the smell from the sweat, you can just wear it every single day, sweat in this t-shirt or top, and just bravely wash it over and over again. I would wash it by hand, but still, even by hand, if you wash it too often, some yarns just don't hold up a lot. If you're into summer shawls, this is perfect as well, but I don't really think it's good for sweaters or cardigans. First, because the gauge is a sport weight yarn, and if you hold it double, it's going to be so heavy and stretching a lot with time, and I just don't see this yarn behaving well as a sweater. And just the last thing I want to say, if you want to knit with this yarn, I do suggest that you make quite a big swatch so you can see how much the fabric is going to grow, because it has quite a high content of viscose, and viscose grew so much in my case, in my experience. So I learned this lesson that every time I have a lot of viscose in the yarn, I need to make a big swatch to determine how much is going to grow in length or in width, so there will be no surprises in the end garment. The next one I crave to try is from Pascuali. It is called Puno Winikunka. It is 70% of organic cotton and 30% of alpaca from Peru. So Pascuali is a German brand and they produce very luxurious yarns. I'll be honest, their yarns are very expensive and a lot of them are not available for my budget, but I still can try some of their yarns. I've tried their mohair, it was a brilliant experience, and I just keep reading about their brand sometimes, and I'm fascinated by how much they care and how much effort they put, even though it's quite hard to compete with very high prices in the market when we have so many cheaper alternatives. So this yarn is also GOTS certified, which is quite important for me, and the cotton is also organic, as I already said, which is very nice for the skin and for people with allergy. The alpaca that is used here in this yarn is from Peru. I don't think it's a baby alpaca, but it really feels like that. I wanted to try this yarn before, but I was a bit skeptical about it because alpaca, I don't really like so much alpaca in summer yarns, and also it's quite pricey for what it is. I'm thinking, well, just cotton and alpaca, quite a pricey choice, and I was thinking it could be a bit rough because of cotton, but all of the dobs have disappeared when I tried this yarn in the yarn shop in Barcelona when I was traveling, and I just fell in love. It is so soft, a bit lofty, a little bit dry, but I wouldn't say it's a dry feeling. It's more like a lightweight feeling to that yarn. The colors are so gorgeous. There are a lot of colors that have this marling effect, which I love so much. And the color palette is just gorgeous. Look at that. I'm going to put it on the screen. Of course, when the company has the best sources of fiber, has the best spinners working for them, they can achieve really nice result, even if the fiber is just cotton and just alpaca. Each ball contains 50 grams and 200 meters. The recommended needle size are 2.5, which is quite small for such meterage. I don't know why. I think the range could be all the way up to 3.5, depending on what type of fabric you want. And if you do it on 2.5, they say that the gauge is 27 stitches per 10 centimeters. There are quite a lot of patterns out there with such gauge, and sometimes I was struggling to find the yarn that could fit this gauge. Knitting for olive merino, of course, the case, and knitting for olive cotton merino. But what if I'm bored of those yarns and I want to try something else? I didn't have anything in mind, but this is a very good alternative and it feels amazing to the touch. Regarding what type of projects we can knit with this yarn is a lot of different versatility. I saw sweaters, cardigans, shawls, tops, everything, scarves, to be honest, like, because the structure is very interesting. You have cotton as a base and this very fluffy alpaca, and the hair from that alpaca creates a very interesting halo that is very microscopic halo, but it just feels so nice. And that's why you can even wear this all year around, but still high amount of cotton makes it a summer yarn, in my opinion. It looks really beautiful in lace. It drapes quite well because of alpaca as well. And if you hold that yarn double, I think it's perfect for summer sweaters, summer cardigans. And actually, I'm now thinking, I mentioned that I don't have the summer cardigan for the beach. I think if I were to start this project right now, I would probably hold this yarn double for any sweater or cardigan. So let's see, maybe I'm going to be trying it soon. The next one is Antigone from Rerum, a French company that I adore and respect so much, and I would love to try a lot of their yarns. The first, I want to speak about the color palette. This is brilliant. I'm in love with every single one of them. I would wear every single one of them. They're very natural, and even the bright colors feel somehow connected to nature. And I feel the whole mode and mood about this brand is about nature as well. So a lot of love to Rerum Nature from my heart. And this specific yarn is a 100% linen yarn that was created with so much love, thought, and care. So the linen is 100% organic, completely chemical free. This linen is grown from flax in Normandy, wet spun in Lithuania, that is the capital of linen itself. They have really nice technology, and Lithuania is known for producing linen really well. Then it is transferred back to France, and there is already spun and finally dyed. So all of these processes are really well controlled, and if you see the price of the ball is like 18 euro per 100 grams, you feel like, oh, it could be a little bit too expensive for a lot of people, including me. But when you think about the whole thoughtful production, the whole care that was provided for the earth, the animals who could be potentially evolved in the production, you know, the fields where this flax is growing, sometimes they could use aggressive chemicals to kill those animals who could enter the field and be harmful to the flax. And all of these little details matter, at least to me. So if you think that they were able to take care of every single step of that, for us knitters to just take the ball of yarn, cast on stitches, and start a t-shirt, it's just fascinating. It makes me feel so happy, and I'm personally ready to pay some additional cost for such beautiful, thoughtful process. So let's get back to the qualities of the yarn. Each ball contains of 100 grams and 260 meters. I don't know if they sell 50-gram balls. I guess they don't, but didn't check that so much. So it is a sport weight yarn, and you can knit this from 2.5 to 4.5 millimeter needles, depending on what type of fabric you want and what type of function the linen can give us for a summer garment. Well, the first is durability and sturdiness. If I were to knit a dress, I would for sure pick this yarn or any other linen yarns. So linen is a very hard worker. You can wear and wash it, wear and wash it. You can steam it, you can iron it. Of course, follow the instruction regarding ironing. Another quality is that it's going to retain a lot of moisture from your body and a lot of heat. For example, I have a linen t-shirt. It's not a knitted t-shirt, but it's quite a thick linen, 100% linen t-shirt. And even when it's a really, really hot day and I'm sweating, the t-shirt is quite thick. it really cools me down. I don't know how it does, but linen does have such interesting quality. And of course, the loftiness. Linen is very nature-oriented fabric. You can feel that it is plant, that you're wearing a plant-based fiber. And most linen yarns out there are known for being rough to the skin, including me, especially when you sweat and something is constantly rubbing against your skin in sensitive areas like neck or the bones, or some people even wear tees and t-shirts without the bra. That is even more irritating to the skin. They say that they don't like to wear linen because it's rough, but this one is different. It is quite soft, and it is known to be a very soft linen compared to other linen yarns in the market. First of all, because of the way it's spun, it is 10 little plies that are spun together, which already results in a soft thread. And since they were able to control the whole process from growing to spinning, they were able to achieve a very soft and pleasant thread that is very nice towards the skin. So what can we need for that? What I saw the most is t-shirts. People really love those t-shirts because, as I already said, it's very cooling to the body. And my favorite garment that I saw in Ravelry from this yarn with quite an open gauge was Linesy T from RICO Design. It is very beautiful t-shirt. I really want to knit this myself, so this is an idea for you. The Antigone from the Rerum Nature is one of the recommended yarns, and in this case is knitted on 4mm needles. So if you take a closer look, you will see that the gauge of the t-shirt is a little bit open and it has a lot of breathability to the body, which is very pleasant. I love that. And as we already see, the stockinette looks just beautiful, nice and even in this yarn. Of course, it doesn't have like silk luster texture. It still has some friction mood to the fabric, but I love that. It looks just beautiful. So you can knit dresses. I think it will look nice. Skirts, because you can sit on it. You can wash it very often. You can iron it. So it's very practical piece for the skirt. I really want to knit the skirt for myself. And I'll put the name of the pattern that I would like to knit. I just forgot the name. Really nice skirt and would really be suitable for the summer. And then, of course, if you wish, shawls, lace tops, lace t-shirts, anything. A few things I would not need with this yarn is ripped camisoles, some structural garments that require some really good definition and holding the shape really well, because linen is still quite a messy fiber, so it's not going to hold ribbing or structure or cables really well. But in lace, if you like the structure, if you like the look of the lace in this yarn, it's going to look really nice. The next one is Merci from Filcolana. Filcolana is an amazing brand that is very budget friendly in my opinion. It is popular for a reason. I think they're doing incredible work. It is a Danish company and they started really a long time ago, back in 1952. What I especially like about them that they are able to produce really high quality yarns for quite affordable prices. And also they're following all of the standards of yarn production that most knitters care about. That's fascinating. I love that so much. So Filcolana Merci is 50% superwash wool and 50% cotton. It is very soft to the skin. It is machine washable. Actually, this yarn I would wash in machine. So the other day I was hiking in the mountains last Saturday, and I was thinking, what type of yarn would I use if I would knit myself a hiking t-shirt? You know, the yarn that would rub against my backpack, that I'm going to sweat in it, that I'm going to then throw in the washing machine. And Filcolana Merci, unfortunately, would be that victim. So it is very nice. I don't know how durable it is, to be honest, of course, because I never used it, but I would choose that yarn for those type of garments. But also for a special project, it is a perfect yarn as well. It looks very nice in stockinette, like pure stockinette. Cables, lace, you can use this for summer sweaters and cardigans, holding double, and so on. Like, it's very versatile, and it's the basic yarn that I would suggest to every knitter out there. It's very soft to the skin, not only because of the fact of superwash wool in it, but also because it's 4-ply yarn, which is also very nice and gentle towards the skin. And also the type of cotton that is used in this yarn, it is Pima cotton. Pima cotton has very light, long fibers, and it is one of the best types of cotton that people can use, that yarn producers can use. I spoke a lot about Pima cotton in the first part of such video, the one I spoke in the beginning of this video. So there's nothing more I can say about this yarn except that we all have to try it for all sorts of garments. I think this yarn is quite nice for ripped camisoles as well. It's going to hold the ribbing quite well if we need it tight enough. It's going to look nice in lace. in just stocking it, as I already said. So all sorts of things I think is brilliant. Very nice yarn, available in so many countries. Filcolana has a lot of distributors across the whole world. And also I could not skip the color palette. Look at these gorgeous colors. I think even the most picky person would find their favorite color in this gorgeous color palette from Filcolana. And the last one in this video is the most luxurious in the list, and I could not skip it, of course. How could I skip my favorite brand? One of my favorite brands of yarn is MYAK Tibetan fibers, and the yarn from them I want to speak about is baby yak silk. It is 50% baby yak and 50% silk. I'm in love with every single yarn that they produce. I have their 100% base yak yarn that I cannot wait to knit from. In the first part, I mentioned about cotton and yak blend, and this time I'm going to be speaking about this one. So the each hank that they sell contains 25 grams, 113 meters, and it costs 13 euros on their official website. So since it's a light fingering weight, you're supposed to knit it on 2.5 to 3.5 millimeter needles. You will need quite a lot of meterage and a lot of hanks. So the project ends up being very expensive. So if I were to knit with this yarn, I would choose a very special project that is quite timeless, so I can enjoy it for many years without losing my interest towards it. I would also maybe pick quite a neutral color so that I can make sure that in 5 years I will be still able to wear it. So what is very important for me when it comes to yak? If you don't know, yak is a very huge animal that lives high up in the mountains, in Tibetan mountains, and they're able to sustain very high and very low temperatures at the same time. So in the daytime, it protects from the mountain heat and reflection from the snow to the animals, and in the night, when it gets really cold, it protects the animal from freezing, basically. So it's very interesting fiber. And specifically, baby yak is a baby up to 6 months that was being brushed. And what's very important to me is to know that, again, the whole production of the yarn was cruelty-free, with love to the animals, with love to people, and respect, and so on. So when it comes to yak, a lot of companies just buy huge quantities of Chinese yak. So Chinese people collect the fur and then they sell just already actually ready fur. And you never know how everything was there, how they were treating animals, were they harming animals due to brushing process, and so on. Maybe I should actually create another video on the whole certification and yarn production in regarding cruelty and when it comes to plant-based fibers, pesticides and herbicides and so on. So let me know if that would be interesting for you. I'll make even a deeper research and create a video on that. That would be very interesting. So I'm very skeptical to yak fibers, and I only buy from very trusted companies. And I couldn't find many trusted companies. This is one of them, Tibetan fibers. So what can we knit with this yarn, and what can we expect from this yarn? So if we look at the structure of the yarn, it is a plied yarn. I don't know if it's 2 or 3 or more plies together, but it's really nice. It looks very even in stockinette, and I don't know what type of silk they're using in this yarn, but I may think that they use burette silk. I might be wrong, but it looks very matte, and as you can see, it has some marling effect to the fabric. So what type of garments are the best for this yarn? Well, the first is the shawls, of course. If you love shawls or you want to gift knit a very special shawl to someone that you love, it is going to be a perfect luxurious choice. Another great choice is any lace or cables, because as the description says of the yarn, that is very well spun, so it is going to hold the shape quite well. So one project I have in mind is a camisole from Celine Phaeton. It was actually released in April, and I spoke about this camisole in detail in my April knitting patterns video. So there were new April knitting patterns that were freshly released, and if you have not seen that video, I will be again putting the link in the description box so you can watch it right after this one. So I would need that camisole in this yarn. I think it would look gorgeous, and the camisole just has stripes and the tight body, so you will not need a lot of yarn, and you can see that it's a very luxurious look. So I think that's a perfect project. But again, you can knit anything, and if you pick 4mm needles, you will need even less yarn, and maybe you can even knit yourself a t-shirt. Or if you want to go full in, you can of course knit yourself a cardigan. The contents of the yarn are perfect for that. Warm yak and cooling silk to your body is going to look just Perfect. Well, that was it for today's video. I cannot keep going because the light is going off, but I mostly mentioned what I wanted. I think there's 2 or 3 yarns left. Overall, this is the yarn nerd series that I have the whole playlist on. I released mohair alternatives video, then summer yarns video, the first part, and this is the second part. And I plan to keep on going releasing videos about yarns, adding to that yarn nerd series collection. So if you subscribe to my channel and press the notification bell button, you will be immediately notified when I release a new video, and you can enjoy knitting and watching. By the way, let me know what you were knitting on when watching this video. I'm always excited to read about your projects. And to be honest, I pick quite a lot of ideas from such comments and I add them into my Ravelry queue. So I hope you enjoy your summer and your knitting time. Just in a few days, I'm going to my beautiful home country, Ukraine. With my husband, we're going to meet with my parents, and I'm just so excited about that trip. Besides, I'm going to go a lot to the mountains here in the north of Spain where I live. So yeah, I'm just wishing you a lot of nice time during this summer. Thank you very much for watching, and I'm hoping to see you soon in my next video.